On April the 27th, 2011, the largest tornado outbreak in recorded history struck the United States. Over the course of 24 hours, 360 tornadoes touched down across the South and Midwest, killing 348 people and causing billions of dollars in damage. It was a day of unprecedented meteorological violence, a super outbreak that meteorologists had never seen before and hoped never to see again. Among those 360 tornadoes, several were rated EF5, the highest rating on the enhanced Fujita scale, reserved for tornadoes with winds exceeding 200 miles per hour, capable of incredible destruction. One of these EF5 tornadoes struck the small town of Smithville, Mississippi, population approximately 900, at 3:47 p.m. Central Time. What happened in the next few minutes was almost beyond comprehension. The tornado, nearly a mile wide, with estimated winds of 205 miles per hour or higher, moved directly over the center of town. In less than 60 seconds, Smithville essentially ceased to exist. Homes were not just damaged, they were completely obliterated, reduced to bare concrete slabs. Trees were debarked and snapped like toothpicks. Vehicles were thrown hundreds of yards and mangled beyond recognition. Asphalt was scoured from roads. The devastation was so complete that when aerial surveys were conducted the next day, researchers could barely tell where the town had been. 23 people died in and around Smithville, in a town of 900. That's approximately 1 in 40 residents killed. Hundreds more were injured. The survivors described a roar like a freight train, then sudden violent chaos, then silence. And when they emerged, their town was gone. This is the story of what many meteorologists believe was the strongest tornado ever documented, a storm so powerful it rewrote our understanding of what tornadoes are capable of. Part 1. April 27th, 2011, the Super Outbreak. The setup. April 27th, 2011 was a day meteorologists had been dreading for several days. The atmospheric conditions were perfect for a catastrophic tornado outbreak. The ingredients. 1. Moisture. Warm, humid air streaming north from the Gulf of Mexico dew points in the 70s. Extremely high moisture, creating instability in the atmosphere. 2. Instability, extreme temperature contrasts, cold air aloft, warm air at surface, creating violent updrafts. 3. Wind shear. Strong winds at different altitudes moving in different directions, creating rotation. Perfect for supercell thunderstorm. 4. A powerful jet stream, upper-level winds over 150 miles per hour, providing energy to storms. The forecast. Days before April 27th, meteorologists knew something historic was coming. Storm Prediction Center, SPC, in Norman, Oklahoma, issued a high-risk forecast for severe weather, extremely rare designation reserved for days when significant violent tornadoes are expected, warned of intense long-track tornadoes, told the public this would be an exceptionally dangerous day. Local National Weather Service offices across Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, Georgia, warned of life-threatening situation, urged people to have plans, emphasized this was not a normal outbreak, but nothing could prepare anyone for what actually happened. The outbreak begins early morning. The first tornadoes touched down before sunrise on April the 27th, overnight and morning tornadoes. Starting around midnight, tornadoes across Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, multiple fatalities, already by 6 a.m., but this was just the beginning. Afternoon. The main event. Around noon, the outbreak intensified dramatically. Supercell thunderstorms exploded across the deep south, multiple tornadoes on the ground simultaneously. Some tornadoes traveling 50-plus miles, some staying on ground for over an hour. Emergency managers overwhelmed, sirens going off constantly. Power outages spreading, communications breaking down. The scale was unprecedented. The Tuscaloosa Birmingham F4, one of the most infamous tornadoes of the day, struck Tuscaloosa, Alabama around 5:10 p.m. Massive wedge tornado, mile wide. Rated EF4, though some damage was near EF5, traveled 80-plus miles, hit densely populated areas, 64 deaths in this one tornado. Captured on live television, the world watched in horror. But before Tuscaloosa, another monster had struck Mississippi. The Smithville EF5. At 3:47 p.m. Central Time, 4:47 p.m. Eastern, a tornado touched down near Smithville, Mississippi, in Monroe County, in the northeastern part of the state. This tornado would become one of the most violent ever recorded. Part 2. Smithville, Mississippi, a small town. The town. Smithville, Mississippi, was a small rural community. Population approximately 900 people, located in Monroe County, northeastern Mississippi, about 20 miles west of the Alabama border, close to the Tombigbee National Forest, a quiet, tight-knit community. Most people knew each other. Many families had lived there for generations. The economy. Small town, rural Mississippi. Modest incomes, mix of blue-collar workers. Some commuted to larger towns for work, local small businesses, agricultural area, working-class community. The homes. Like many small southern towns, mix of older homes and mobile homes. Some well-built brick houses, many wood frame homes, mobile homes, particularly vulnerable to tornadoes. No tall buildings, mostly single-story homes. April 27, 2011 afternoon. The people of Smithville knew severe weather was coming. Tornado watches had been issued local news and weather radio broadcasting warnings. Sirens had sounded earlier for other storms, but northeast Mississippi gets tornadoes regularly. Many people had weathered storms before, some took shelter, others watched and waited. Around 3:30 p.m. Meteorologists tracking a supercell thunderstorm moving northeast through Mississippi radar showing strong rotation. A tornado was likely. National Weather Service issued tornado warning. 3:47 p.m. touchdown. The tornado touched down southwest of Smithville. From the beginning, it was massive. Part 3, the tornado, unprecedented power. The initial touchdown. When the tornado first touched down, it was already large, immediately violent, tearing through rural areas southwest of Smithville, trees being ripped from the ground, homes being destroyed, moving northeast at about 55 to 60 miles per hour, directly towards Smithville. The size. This was not a typical tornado. Width estimated 3/4 to 1 mile wide. A massive wedge tornado, wider than tall, taking up the entire horizon. Some witnesses described it as a wall of black, enormous debris cloud, so large it looked like the entire sky was descending. The warnings. National Weather Service meteorologists watching radar, seeing extreme rotation debris ball signature, radar detecting debris being lofted, velocity readings off the charts issuing urgent warnings, tornado emergency for Smithville. Seek shelter now. This is an extremely dangerous tornado. Residents had perhaps 10-15 minutes warning from sirens and broadcasts. 3:50 to 3:52 p.m. The tornado hit Smithville. At approximately 3:50 p.m. the tornado reached the southwest edge of Smithville. Over the next 2-3 minutes, it moved directly through the center of town. What residents experienced? First, the approach. Sky turning dark green, then black wind, picking up dramatically hail, some baseball-sized or larger. The roar described as like 100 freight trains. The pressure change, ears popping. Then the tornado arrived. The tornado itself. Witnesses who survived in sturdy shelters described complete darkness, deafening roar, buildings shaking violently, debris smashing into walls, flying gravel, feeling like sand blasting, the sound of structures being ripped apart, screaming wind, then sudden silence. The duration. The tornado passed over Smithville in approximately 60 seconds, less than 1 minute. But in that minute, the town was destroyed. The destruction. What the tornado did to Smithville was almost beyond belief. Homes, well-built brick homes, completely destroyed, reduced to foundations, wood frame homes, obliterated, debris scattered for miles, mobile homes, completely swept away, not even debris left in some cases, approximately 70% of the town's structures destroyed or severely damaged. Only the most robust structures, like a reinforced bank vault, survived intact. Vehicles, cars and trucks thrown hundreds of yards, wrapped around trees, mangled beyond recognition. Some never found. Trees, mature hardwood trees snapped at ground-level trees, debarked. Bark stripped completely off. Debarking is a sign of extreme wind speeds, usually EF4, EF5. The landscape scoured, infrastructure, Power lines down everywhere, water tower damaged, roads covered in debris, asphalt scoured from some roads, pavement removed by the tornado, metal guardrails twisted like pretzels. The Tombigbee National Forest. After leaving Smithville, the tornado continued into the Tombigbee National Forest, caused catastrophic forest damage. Thousands of acres of mature trees destroyed, entire forest sections leveled, damage visible from satellite. Total path length, approximately 23 miles. Time on ground, approximately 25 minutes. Maximum width, 3/4 mile. But the 2-3 minutes over Smithville were the most intense. Part 4. The immediate aftermath, chaos and death. When the tornado passed, when the roaring stopped and survivors emerged. What they saw. Smithville was gone. Not damage gone, where homes had stood. Bare slabs or empty lots. Debris everywhere. Some debris unrecognizable, pieces of homes, belongings, lives scattered across fields. Trees stripped bare. Landscape unrecognizable. Many survivors described. Not knowing where they were, the town was so destroyed they couldn't orient themselves, couldn't tell where streets had been, landmarks gone. The injured and dead. Immediately after the tornado. People trapped in rubble, injured and calling for help. Some critically hurt, some already dead, blood, screaming, chaos. Survivors began searching for family members, pulling people from debris, rendering first aid, but many were themselves injured and the scale was overwhelming. The death toll. 23 people died in and around Smithville. Who they were. All ages. Children, adults, elderly. Some entire families. Some died in their homes, crushed when homes collapsed. Some died trying to take shelter, shelters inadequate for EF5. Some died from flying debris, some thrown by the tornado. The percentage is staggering. 23 deaths in a town of approximately 900, approximately 1 in 40 residents killed. Nearly everyone knew someone who died, or was closely related to someone who died. The injured. Hundreds injured, broken bones. Lacerations from flying debris and glass. Head trauma, puncture wounds. Some permanently disabled, many requiring hospitalization. But getting medical care was difficult. Local medical facilities destroyed or damaged, ambulances couldn't easily navigate, roads blocked. Injured had to be transported to hospitals in other towns, some by helicopter, the search and rescue. Within an hour, first responders from surrounding areas began arriving, but access was difficult, roads blocked by debris, power lines, down some roads impassable. The rescuers found people trapped in collapsed structures, working to free them. Searching systematically through rubble, calling out for survivors, marking search structures. The search continued into the night, using flashlights and generators. Dangerous work, unstable structures, debris. Finding both survivors and bodies. Communication breakdown. All communications in Smithville were down. No cell service, towers destroyed, no landlines, lines down, no power. No internet. Survivors couldn't contact family members outside town. Families outside town couldn't reach loved ones. Hours of agonizing uncertainty. The night. The first night after the tornado, survivors with nowhere to go. Homes destroyed. No power, no water, cold. April night in Mississippi can be chilly. Some sheltered in the few intact buildings, some in vehicles, some in tents provided by emergency services. Shock, grief, trauma. Many couldn't sleep, too traumatized, too worried about missing loved ones. Part 5. The damage survey rating the tornado. The next day, April the 28th. When daylight came on April 28th, the full scope of destruction became clear. Aerial surveys showed total devastation. Smithville essentially erased from the landscape. National Weather Service damage survey. Teams from the National Weather Service came to survey the damage and assign an enhanced Fujita scale rating. The enhanced Fujita scale. Tornadoes are rated based on damage. EF0, 65 to 85 miles per hour. Minor damage, EF1, 86 to 110 miles per hour. Moderate damage EF2 111 to 135 miles per hour, considerable damage EF3 136 to 165 miles per hour, severe damage F4 166 to 200 miles per hour, devastating damage F5 over 200 miles per hour, incredible damage. EF5 is the highest rating, reserved for the most violent tornadoes. The survey findings. The damage survey teams found today's EF5 indicators. Well-built homes swept completely away, only slabs remaining. Entire home foundations shifted. Large sections of asphalt removed from roads, vehicles thrown over 500 yards. Large trees completely debarked, grass stripped from ground in some areas. Metal structures twisted into unrecognizable shapes. The official rating, EF5. Estimated wind speeds, 205 plus mph. But many meteorologists believe the true wind speeds were higher. Why some think it was stronger than 205 miles per hour? Several factors suggest extreme intensity. 1. Ground scouring, soil and grass removed down to bedrock in some areas. This level of damage is exceptionally rare. Suggests winds potentially over 220 miles per hour. 2. Debarking, large, mature hardwood trees completely stripped of bark. Not just branches removed, bark sandblasted off indicates extreme wind speeds with high debris loading. 3. Pavement removal, asphalt torn from roads. Pavement is very difficult to remove, adheres strongly to roadbed, requires exceptional wind speeds and debris impacts. 4. Vehicle damage, vehicles mangled beyond recognition, thrown extraordinary distances, some disintegrated. 5. The debris field. Personal items found 5,100 plus miles away. Checks and photos from Smithville found in Alabama and Tennessee indicates debris lofted to extreme heights, 30,000 plus feet. Comparison to other EF5s. The Smithville tornado's damage was compared to other historic F5 tornadoes. Other violent tornadoes, May 3, 1999, Bridge Creek, Moore, Oklahoma, EF5. Mobile Doppler measured 301 miles per hour winds aloft. May 22, 2011, Joplin, Missouri. EF5, 158 deaths. June 8, 1953, Flint, Michigan, F5, 116 deaths. Smithville's ground damage appeared equal to or more severe than any of these. Some meteorologists' opinion. Dr. Tim Marshall, renowned tornado damage survey expert, has surveyed hundreds of tornadoes, stated Smithville damage was among the most intense he'd ever seen, believes wind speeds may have exceeded 220 miles per hour. Dr. Joshua Werman, mobile Doppler radar pioneer, studies tornado wind speeds, notes ground damage indicators suggest exceptional intensity. The consensus among many experts, Smithville may have been the strongest tornado at ground level ever documented. The radar data. Doppler radar from that day showed extreme velocity signatures, debris ball, clearly visible, some of the strongest rotational velocities ever measured, confirming the tornado's exceptional strength. Part 6. The victims and survivors. The 23 who died. Each of the 23 victims had a name, a life, a story. Among them, families who died together. Children as young as 3 years old, elderly residents who'd lived in Smithville their entire lives. People who took shelter, but their shelter wasn't enough for EF5 winds. Some who may not have received warnings, no power, no weather radio. Their deaths were not quick in some cases. Some may have been injured and died before rescue arrived. Some trapped in rubble. The violence of the tornado was incomprehensible. The survivors. Those who survived described their experiences, examples, composite based on survivor accounts. Family in a brick home, took shelter in an interior bathroom, held onto pipes. The walls began shaking violently, roof torn off, walls collapsed around them. Buried in rubble but survived, dug themselves out, emerged to find their home and neighborhood gone. Woman in a mobile home, tried to drive away but couldn't outrun tornado. Abandoned car and laid in a ditch covered her head. The tornado passed directly over debris, flying everywhere, survived with injuries. Her mobile home was never found. Man in an underground shelter. had installed a storm shelter buried in yard, went down as tornado approached. Heard the roar above, felt the pressure changes when emerged. His property scoured clean. The shelter saved his life. Child separated from parents. Family tried to shelter together, tornado, hit child thrown blown away from parents, found alive in debris 100 yards away, reunited with parents who also survived but were injured. Trauma. All survivors experience trauma. Psychological impact, PTSD symptoms, nightmares, anxiety during thunderstorms, survivors' guilt. Why did I live when others died? Grief for lost neighbors and friends. Many said they still hear the roar in their minds. Part 7. The response and recovery. The immediate response. Federal, state, and local response. FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Agency. Declared federal disaster area, provided emergency housing assistance, temporary shelters, financial assistance for survivors. Mississippi Emergency Management coordinated state response, brought in resources. Search and rescue, debris removal. Red Cross set up shelters, provided food, water, supplies, helped displaced families with volunteers. From across the region, church groups, disaster relief organizations, helping with debris removal, providing meals, supporting survivors. The challenges. Rebuilding Smithville faced enormous challenges. The scale of destruction, 70% of structures destroyed or heavily damaged, infrastructure obliterated, no power, water, sewage for extended period, economic small town with limited resources. Many residents lacked adequate insurance, some homes underinsured, recovery costs in the millions. Population loss. Some survivors left permanently, too traumatized to return or couldn't afford to rebuild. The town's population declined. The rebuilding. Smithville slowly rebuilt. 2011 to 2013, debris removal took months, infrastructure rebuilt, some homes reconstructed, but slower than hoped. 2013 to 2015. More homes rebuilt, businesses reopening, life returning. Today, Smithville still exists, smaller than before, scars still visible, empty lots where homes once stood, but the community persevered. The memorials. Smithville has memorials to honor the 23 victims, monument in town, listing names of those who died, annual memorial services. Community comes together to remember. The wider, April 27, 2011 outbreak. Smithville was just one community affected that day. Total statistics from April the 27th, 2011. 216 tornadoes in one day, part of 360 total over 24 hours. 348 deaths across 6 states. Deadliest tornado outbreak since 1936. 4 EF5 tornadoes, extremely rare to have even one. Damage, billions of dollars. Other communities devastated. Tuscaloosa and Birmingham, Alabama. Hackleburg and Phil Campbell, Alabama. Rainsville, Alabama. Many others. It was a day of unprecedented tragedy across the South. Part 8. The science, why was it so strong? What makes an F5 tornado? EF5 tornadoes are extremely rare. To produce one requires 1. Perfect atmospheric conditions, extreme instability, strong wind shear, high moisture, powerful jet stream. 2. A long-lived supercell. The parent thunderstorm must be exceptionally strong and organized. The Smithville supercell was a perfect storm. 3. Ground interaction. The tornado must be in contact with favorable terrain. The Smithville tornado maintained intensity over varied terrain. The April 27, 2011 conditions. That day had exceptional ingredients, record instability, Cape values over 4,000 jkg in some areas, extreme wind shear 0 to 6 kilometers, shear over 80 knots, deep moisture, powerful upper-level jet, perfect setup. The result, multiple EF5 tornadoes, which almost never happens. Why was Smithville tornado potentially the strongest? Several theories. 1. The supercell. The parent storm was exceptionally powerful. Radar showed extreme mesocyclone intensity. The storm's updraft may have been the strongest of the day. 2. Topography. Some research suggests slight elevation changes may have enhanced the tornado. The tornado intensified as it approached Smithville. 3. Vortex dynamics. The tornado may have had multiple vortices, suction vortices. These can produce even more intense localized damage. Some damage paths suggest multiple vortices. 4. Timing. The tornado hit Smithville during peak intensity. Some tornadoes fluctuate in strength. Smithville was hit during the tornado's strongest phase. Could we measure winds directly? The challenge. We don't have direct wind measurements inside violent tornadoes. Instruments get destroyed. Mobile Doppler can measure winds aloft, but not at ground level, so we rely on damage indicators. The Bridge Creek tornado, May 3, 1999. Mobile Doppler measured 301 miles per hour, winds aloft, 500 feet up. Ground winds estimated lower, but still EF5. This is the highest wind speed ever measured near a tornado. Smithville had no mobile Doppler nearby, so we can't know the actual wind speed. But the ground damage suggests it may have been comparable or stronger than Bridge Creek. Part 9. The Lessons and Legacy. What Smithville taught us. 1. Even small towns need shelters. Many Smithville homes had no adequate shelter. Above-ground shelter is insufficient for EF5. Need underground or reinforced safe rooms. Cost is a barrier for many rural residents. 2. Warnings save lives. Despite 23 deaths, it could have been worse. Many survived because they heard warnings and took shelter. Better warnings and preparation can save lives. 3. Mobile homes are death traps. Multiple mobile home residents died. Mobile homes cannot withstand even EF2, EF3 tornadoes. People in mobile homes must evacuate to sturdy shelter. This remains a critical vulnerability. 4. EF5 tornadoes are unsurvivable in most structures. Well-built homes were destroyed. Only underground shelters or extremely reinforced structures protect against EF5. People need access to such shelters. 5. Rural communities face unique challenges. Limited resources for recovery. Smaller tax base, less infrastructure, need more support in disasters. Post-Smithville changes. In Mississippi, increased emphasis on storm shelters. Some grant programs for safe rooms, better public education about tornado safety. Nationally, the April 27, 2011 outbreak spurred research. Better understanding of tornado formation. Improved warning systems. Faster warning, lead times. But challenges remain. Not everyone has access to adequate shelter. Rural areas still vulnerable. Climate change may be increasing tornado intensity. Debated. The tornado safety message. What to do in a tornado? Best underground shelter or FEMA safe room. Good. Interior room on lowest floor, away from windows, covering yourself. Last resort. If caught outside, lay in a ditch and cover your head. What not to do. Do not stay in a mobile home. Evacuate a sturdy building. Do not try to outrun in a car. Tornadoes faster than you think. Do not hide under an overpass. Creates wind tunnel effect. Deadly. Do not open windows. Myth that it equalizes pressure. It doesn't help. The Smithville Memorial. Smithville remembers. Annual memorial service on April 27th. Survivors and families gather honor. The 23 who died reflect on survival and resilience, community bonds, strengthened by shared tragedy. Conclusion. On April 27, 2011, during the largest tornado outbreak in recorded history, a monster EF5 tornado struck the small town of Smithville, Mississippi. The tornado was nearly a mile wide, with estimated winds of 205 miles per hour, possibly higher. It was one of 4 EF5 tornadoes that day, part of an outbreak that killed 348 people across 6 states. But Smithville faced full fury of perhaps the strongest tornado ever documented. In less than 60 seconds, the tornado obliterated the town. Homes were swept completely away, reduced to bare slabs. Trees were debarked, vehicles were mangled beyond recognition. Asphalt was scoured from roads. The devastation was total. 23 people died in a town of 900. That's approximately 1 in 40 residents killed. They died because an EF5 tornado is an almost unstoppable force of nature. Most structures cannot withstand 200 plus mph winds. Not everyone had access to adequate shelter. Even those who tried to shelter weren't always safe. Rest in peace to the 23 victims of the Smithville tornado. You were families, neighbors, friends. You were children, adults, elderly. You lived in a small Mississippi town, part of a tight-knit community. You died in an act of nature so violent it defies comprehension. Outbreak, never forgotten. May we learn from tragedy. May we be better prepared. May we never forget. The Fear Files post videos covering the true stories behind some of history's greatest disasters. YouTube channel members, huge thanks to everyone who supports this channel. If you found this documentary informative, please like and subscribe to the channel for more stories of history's greatest disasters and nature's power. Your support makes this content possible. DY. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video.